ladies and gentlemen. I am Kane, and you are watching Kilt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. Oh, and what an absolutely fantastic show we've got for you today. Yes, I have this magnificent recipe. But it is not I cooking it, for as you may recall, I am not a baker. My father, however, is, for he used to be a chemist, and by nature, a chemist is excellent at chemistry. So my father, Ken the Elder, shall be making for you an absolutely fantastic, delicious cake that is perfect for these times when you are stuck in quarantine with your family, wishing that they would all just go away or shut up or whatever it is families do or that you wish they would do, but they never do. So, why don't you sit back, relax, take your cup of tea. Exquisite. Throw a salute to the picture of the Queen you've got above your desktop, and let us watch Kilt Can Cook, a Death by Chocolate cake. You're no doubt seeing a picture of my father, Ken the Elder, on your screen right now. As you can see, he is looking rather dapper in his kilt. Before Dad was a chemist, he worked for the Navy for 20 years of good, loyal service. And then he retired after 20 years, decided to become a chemist, and then he retired rather recently to take up a life of crime. No, I jest. He decided to become an actor for a bit. And of course, he decided to cook. And one of the recipes he discovered and decided to embellish upon was this fantastic cake that takes Guinness and espresso and makes this delicious, rich, luscious cake. It's so delicious that my next door neighbors, who are very healthy, mind you, absolutely love this cake, and they hate my father and myself by extension because it is so good. It absolutely ruins our diets. It's absolutely the best. Now, I should make mention that this, once again, not a healthy cake. If you are locked up at home, not exercising, this may add a couple pounds, and that's all right. Quarantine calories do not count. Now, my father, he's going to take 3 separate baking tins, and he is going to rub a lot of butter on them. This keeps it so that the cake does not stick to the pan. And then he's going to take some pre-measured parchment paper that he cut out before we were on camera, and he's going to put that on the bottom. Why does he both grease up the pans and add parchment paper? That is an excellent question. Next, sift your ingredients. These are, of course, our dry ingredients: flour, Dutch processed cocoa, etc. We want to get those lumps out. You see that? That is a lump. We don't want that, because it makes it so that mixing and blending gets more difficult later on. He's next going to add some salt, a bit of baking soda, and baking powder. These are all essential elements to making a cake. Why? I don't know. Remember, I do not bake. And neither did I take the effort to research why you include these things. Next, we're going to mix our Guinness with our instant espresso mix. Now, you can, of course, not add these things if you've got children. Just add the vanilla. Add a tablespoon of vanilla to your cake mixture. But if you do not have children, the Guinness and espresso make for an absolutely fantastic, rich, creamy. Next, we're going to blend our butter. I suppose whip is more accurate. Whip the butter with the sugar until it forms a nice frothy consistency. It may sound odd at first, but this is going to be the cake. Our cake is going to have this nice frothy butter in it. See that? It looks fantastic, doesn't it? It looks like icing, but it is not icing. I guarantee it. Neither is it frosting. There's a difference between frosting and icing. Dad is next going to crack some eggs. You can add all your eggs all at once, but Dad likes to make it so that he cracks one egg separately so that he knows there is no shell in it, and then add it to the mixture. Next, he's going to add some mayonnaise. Now, I know this is a peculiar ingredient to some of you, but mayonnaise keeps your cake moist, and a moist cake is a delicious cake. Next, add some of that delicious dry mixture we made earlier, little bits at a time. Add a little bit of the Guinness mixture at a time. We don't want to overwhelm the pre-mixed butter. Remember that light frothy quality we had? We want to keep that as much as possible. So we don't want to overload the mixture with all of our dry ingredients and all of our Guinness at once, because that will swamp the mixture and make it quite unpleasant. And then we just add the rest in at a time. Very good. Now, as you see, our mixture, of course, is not as light and frothy as it once was, but it is still very airy. And that airiness is going to make for an absolutely splendid cake. Now, these beaters are not exactly child-friendly, because remember, there is both Guinness and espresso. So I would avoid letting the little ones lick these for the time being. Next, we're going to partition our cake mixture into 3 separate baking tins, the ones that we greased up earlier. Try to make it as even as possible, and then take your spatula and just kind of even it out. We want it to bake evenly because we are going to stack them on top of each other, of course. Use a light hand, of course, to mix, to spread that all out. Very good. Next, we're going to put it into our oven. You will see on your screen how long you put it in the oven and at what temperature. Very good. Next, we're going to make our buttercream frosting. Oh, this is fantastic. Add our butter, add our icing, and next we are going to blend it, just like we did earlier with the cake batter. We're going to add Dutch processed cocoa to some icing sugar. We're going to mix that together. We don't need to sift this. It doesn't matter nearly as much as it once did. Oh, this is absolutely delicious. It's so bad for you too. That's what makes it so tasty. Now, once your cake has been in for this length of time, you want to open your oven, take a toothpick, stick it in the center, and pull it out. Now, if there is any kind of residue on there, it needs to cook a little bit longer. Make sure your buttercream frosting is nice and blended. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, now once your cakes are ready, we are going to pull them out of the oven and we are going to upend the pans. We want to get these while they're still relatively warm. So take your knife, scrape along the edges to make sure that it hasn't stuck to the pan. Take a cooling rack and upend it, just like you saw Dad do. Very good, Father. You see how that cake came out all at once? That's a result of having both the parchment paper and butter along the edges. 2 times. Very good. And of course, don't forget to peel that parchment paper off, or you'll have a very unpleasant surprise later on. Oh, pardon me. And of course, 3rd time is the charm. Let your cake sit for a good long while. You want it to get to nice room temperature. Otherwise, when you try to frost it, it's going to melt. You never frost a warm cake, ever. Once your cake has cooled to room temperature, take it out and glob it large amounts of frosting on. Spread it evenly out. Now we're basically going to use it as a mortar to bind all these cakes together. Very good. And now, of course, we're just going to apply liberally. Oh, look at how fantastic that looks. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, an absolutely splendid cake made by my father, Ken the Elder. Let's give him a bit of a round of applause, shall we? And give yourself one too. You have been a magnificent audience. As always, I am Ken, and you're watching Kilt Can Cook. I bet you were worried there for a minute, weren't you? With the tie and the vest and the posh British accent. No, I'm still the same man I always have been. I got a shave and a haircut, but that doesn't mean his channel's going to be any different. No. Together, we're going to make the same delicious food we always have, and we're going to have fun doing it. Together, we're going to have confidence and competence to conquer the kitchen, and we're going to have a great time this year, aren't we? In the meantime, though, I'm Ken. You're watching Kilt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. I'll be seeing you.